Malphus, you're muted.
I'm always muted. Why don't they understand that I'm just always going to be muted? I rely on them for this. Anyway, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is week number 2, day number 1 of the North American Challenger League. My name is Malphus X. I'm always muted, and joining me as always is Studio. We're heading into our second game of the night. It's going to be Curse Academy up against Velocity Esports. Studio, talk to us about what we just saw in game number 1.
Game number one, we just saw Curse. Well, they might be cursed. The new lineup did not do very well. They were going up against Coast though, and Coast is tied for the number one spot in the season so far with Complexity, neither of which have lost a game. Now we're going up against Curse Academy versus Velocity Esports. Today really is just a day of Curse, and frankly, this is, I think, a big matchup for Velocity. They need to win a game. They need to win a game against anybody because they are going up into relegation soon. If they can't win against, Curse Academy, a team that is 1-2, that does not bode well for their future against a team that they'll probably play at relegation's Complexity.
All right, so we're hopping into this game. We're seeing the picks coming out here. Rux is already locked in the Gragas. The bans were done. It's Elise, Shen, and Cassidy being banned out by Curse Academy. Velocity Esports have banned away Corky, Zed, and Vi. They do not want to give that over to Curse Academy. That first pick, Gragas already getting locked in. Going to be going over for only Jacksmith in the mid lane. Meanwhile, the jungle and support have been picked up for the side of Velocity Esports. They've grabbed themselves a Sona and a NACLS.
That's a huge pickup with the Gragas pick. Only Jack Smith is constantly banned out against that pick. He always complains about it in chat, in a joking way, of course, but I very rarely actually get to see him play Gragas compared to really any other champion in the game. So, gonna be scary. Do they have a plan for it, though? Velocity did ban out Zed, which I'd say is one of Maple Street's favorite mid champions, so gonna see what he pulls out in response. Like, is there something Maple Street's gonna be very comfortable with, especially against Gragas? Gragas, who is very good against a lot of characters, like Orianna, for example, because of the disjoint he has with the ultimate. If he pushes Orianna back into him, Orianna dies in response, and it's hard to, oh, they lock it in. So, good luck to Maple Street, because that is a hard lane, but when the jungle comes in, it can change anything.
Absolutely, yeah. If Gragas ever finds Orianna alone, that body slam damage is just so incredibly potent. Gragas has so much kill potential in that lane. We'll see if Jacksmith is able to bring that to bear, as they have indeed picked up the Lucian that's now been locked in. So it's going to be a Lucian Sona bottom lane as they're going up against Nami, and we're not sure which AD carry it's going to be yet. So far, Fabi is showing us Ezreal. We just got to wait and see if he locks that in.
I mean, they do have a lot of choices. Lucian is also a pick people don't really understand necessarily. As a North American player, he's so rare that I do not know how to play against him. I do not know a lot about him. And I think that's probably going to actually extend to Curse Academy as well. So the Lucian pick has a lot of surprise in its factor. And I like that. I like the fact that, they're not going into this in the highest spirits, not going into this with the best record. Try something new, try something different, see if that works out. That's actually been Velocity's strength since back in the day when they were doing Frozen Fist Jungle Ezreal to great effect.
So you see the Ezreal does get locked in for Fabi, and they're going to grab a Jax is going to be the top lane pick for Rux. And the immediate counter pick going out there, yeah, they're just going to grab Chris that Renekton fast, quick, and in a hurry.
To snatch that up ASAP. So we're going to have Chris playing Renekton in the top lane, and King playing Nasus in the jungle. Slacko playing... Actually, is Slacko going to stay on the Orianna? They could have
I'm
him
not
stay on the
really
Orianna,
sure.
but they haven't
I mean,
swapped
they,
it
they
yet.
did pick those in the same wave of picks. So if from Maple Street wanted the Orianna, he could have picked it up for himself. So it looks like they're going to actually go for a little bit of a lane swap here coming out. They're going to have from Maple Street going back over to the AD carry side of things, and they're going to have Slacko move up to the mid lane duties.
Well, we'll see once the delay starts, but that could be a new plan for them. Just try and change things up. Maybe Maple Street wasn't having the best time in mid lane. But regardless, we'll have Orianna and Lucian being played by somebody, and then Evaniscus playing Sona on support. And what about Curse Academy, Malthus?
Or on the side of Curse Academy, they've got Rux playing Jax in the top lane. One bad Brad going to be playing the jungle Jarvan. It's going to be only Jacksmith playing his mid lane Gragas. Fabi and Satsulo going to be taking down the bottom lane duties with Ezreal and Nami. All right, yeah, and so we are indeed into the delay. So that is going to be a change of roles there. Slacko is going to be playing the Orianna in mid from Maple Street, going back to his own stomping grounds in the bottom lane. We're going to take a quick commercial break, guys. When we come back, it's going to be game number 2 of the night. This is week number 2, day 1 of the North American Challenger League. I am Malphus X, and I'm being joined, as always, by Studio.
Well, not as always. I'm not always near you. We've cast differently before, different events at different times. It's happened at least once. But regardless, right now we got Curse Academy going up against Velocity, and Curse Academy going for this invade. They do have really powerful level 1 because of the Nami bubble, as well as the possibility of a Jack stun and Gragas' sustained damage and Fabi sustained damage on the Ezreal with a Q. The counterpoint would be that they saw Curse Academy going for that invade, so the members of Velocity is going to go right back at them with an award in their jungle. And then very defensive play afterwards. They actually could have gone for more, but I guess they're playing on the safer side.
Alright, so you see Tetsuya coming over here and group up with the rest of his side. Stepping forward, they're going to be able to get their aggressive wards down on the red side of the jungle. We've seen so many teams doing this, and we might actually find the return coming out here from the side of Velocity Esports. They're hiding out in that brush near their mid lane. If they step out into the river, they will get spotted by that ward that was left by Tetsuya as he came to rejoin the rest of his team. But it doesn't look like they're going to get spotted out. They're just going to head over back to their side of the jungle, move back towards their blue buff. And we'll see what the level 1 play develops out from here. NK Inc. and Evanisca stepping forward. They look like they want to go for the red steal, and if they do go for this, they'll get spotted out on this ward.
They'll get spotted out, but I don't think it's the biggest deal because, you know, they do have the red steal going on for the members of Curse Academy. So it'll be up to Satsulo and Fabi to go ahead and stop that invade. But once again, the members of Velocity changing their mind. This actually might be a bad thing. NK Inc. might get to blue buff a little late. So 1 or 2 seconds waste, but 1 or 2 seconds can be a very big deal when it comes to the jungle, as they do have Chris spotting out and watching for the red steal.
And that is going down at this point, so if NK Inc. isn't able to get back over and take his own red buff, it's looking like Curse Academy have a good shot at controlling 3 buffs here at the level 1. One by Brad gonna step back out, probably gonna kill just 1 ad to hit level 2. No, he is going to stick around and clear the entire cave so that they have the timer. And we are going to be finding a 2v2 matchup in the bottom lane. It's going to be Lucian Sona taking down Ezreal Nami.
I mean, Lucian is a character that I think a lot of people kind of forgets how he works. So we'll go into it a little bit more as we do have NK Inc. going for that steal. Jarvan has approached the mid lane. They know he's going for that early red buff steal, and they're actually going to stop him. So NK Inc. trying to back it up, resets the red buff for a tiny second. That could be his flash gone.
Yeah, NK gonna have to flash back out over the wall. Meanwhile, Fabi trading over here from Maple Street, trying to chase him back out, getting as much damage back down as he can. Not gonna land that last Mystic shot. But NK Inc. Will count himself fortunate to be able to come back out with both buffs.
All right, so that was not the best trade because that did force a flash. At the same time, Nasus can always just play more passively rather than going for ganks, which are not necessarily his biggest deal early on. He can just try and farm up, which is okay because Chris is doing well top lane. Mid lane, Slacko still has some time before Gragas becomes a major threat, and actually he's pushing with the bot lane to make sure that lane goes well. So in the end, it's not the best exchange because he did have to burn that flash, but if he can play passively or just support lanes like he's doing bot lane, then he's able to use it effectively still.
Alright, so we see NK coming down here doing what NACLS does. He doesn't so much gank champions as he ganks towers. Throws down the Spirit Fire, helping them clear that out as for Maple Street's just trying to auto down every single creep and then get as much damage onto the tower as he can. We see One Bad Brad is focusing a little more heavily on farming, but because of that, they've taken a lot of health. They've already lost about half the health in this tower. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Chris has hit level 3, starting to play a little bit more aggressively onto Rux, kind of showing what Renekton can do against the Jax. And you see, just like that, Velocity Esports bottom lane is able to take more than half of the health off the tower before that armor even starts to decay.
They have to make sure that turret goes down, because if they don't, I mean, Jarvan has been farming up, he's level 4, at the same time NK still only level 3, and the experience is just being shredded because NK is in that lane. Rux actually going down low top lane, Chris goes for the Ignite, not going to be able to pick up that kill, but take him down low, probably force him back to base.
And that's what he wants to do right now. He just wants to be able to generate an XP gap between the two of them, because he knows if he hits level 6 first, he's going to have a huge advantage. Slacko going to get caught out. There's the flash out from One Bad Brad. One Bad Brad picks up first blood.
Easy kill in the mid lane. It's hard to evade a gank like that, especially as Orianna, because the Jarvan standard, the flag and drag, is just so powerful, especially if Gragas lands any CC prior to that. They're still pushing in bot lane, so they've already lost mid lane. They should get the turret with this push, but you know, they've lost so much in response in terms of experience. And actually, Fabi going forward, really trying to shut down NK Inc. That could be his demise, though.
Yeah, we see the Wither coming out. They're trying to chase this one back down. Fabi's just going to have to flash away from that one. From Maple Street, just about out of mana. He's trying to bait it in there. Wombat Brad comes back out. NK Inc. steps back. The exhaust goes down on Wombat Brad. Is it going to be enough to keep NK Inc. alive? No, it will not. Fabi's going to be the one to pick up that kill. Now they turn it on to Maple Street. Maple Street going to get ignited. Uses the flash. Going to use the E to get himself back out of range as best he can. Fabi has the red buff that he just took off of NK Inc. The flag and drag comes forward. There's the W slow. Evaniscus dies with his flash still available to him. And just like that, Curse Academy take a 3-0 lead on the kill score.
I think Evaniscus might have actually been saving his flash because he expected to die still if he did burn the flash, but, you know, Fabi was out of mana. He could have gotten out of that situation and still survived, but really, I mean, this is a devastating start for Velocity. They do pick up that turret, but now Chris up top lane, he kind of lost a lot of his advantage, actually now behind in CS. The mid lane lost a kill, bot lane lost 2 kills. This is now just such a bad situation to be in if you remember Velocity. Fabi's going to be able to freeze a lane near his turret. So now that bottom turret is gone, it's actually up to Velocity to roam like they're doing now, sending Maple Street and Evaniscus top side, because if not, they would not get any farm. This does put Chris in a bad position, though. I think Ruck is actually going to be able to do a lot if Jarvan goes top lane to gank versus Evaniscus and Maple Street.
So we see Chris is being sent down to the bottom lane as they're going to rotate the Lucian and the Sona to the top lane to try to repeat the success there with that tower. We'll see if NK Inc. also shows up as they once again form that 3-man tower pushing squad. They are down 900 gold despite being up a tower, and that's largely on the strength of CS gaps across the map, combined with those additional 3 kills, which is very, very strong. But Rux, you know, he did return up to that top lane, so now he's going to find himself in a 2v1 situation. But you have to think, at this point, Jax plus Jarvan are going to have a pretty immense amount of kill potential, particularly against that Sona.
Jax, Jarvan, and possibly Gragas. Are they going to be able to evade that ward, though? No, just going to walk right into that vision ward if they proceed forward. And there were actually pings onto the sneaky route they could have taken through the Baron pit. So now going down is actually Fabi going down very low in the bot lane. Chris could go for this kill.
Chris trying to close the gap, is going to flash forward there. He's going to get popped up by the bubble. Tatsulo just placing that forward enough. Chris going to get into the creeps, uses the slice and the dice, and is able to pick up that kill with the Call to Meek.
Unfortunately for Fabi, he did not believe in Satsulo, blowing the barrier a bit too early. That was a beautiful bubble, but just not quite enough. Renekton's still very, very fast, especially compared to an Ezreal, who has a relatively low base move speed. Blue buff is snagged up, I believe. As if Ruck's going aggressive, 2-level advantage, he can kill Evaniscus here.
Evaniscus is going to flash back out. Ruck's going to try to flash after him. Going to get slowed down by that power cord from Evaniscus. He just needs one more leap strike. Rux knows it. There's the leap strike with the empower. He's going to be able to pick up that kill, but he might give one back over to from Maple Street. There's no one coming up right now. It's just going to be if Maple Street can actually chase this down. Doesn't look like he'll be able to, as he abandons the chase. Very, very nicely played. Jacksmith trying to get it onto Slacko. The explosive cast not going to land, but here comes one bad Brad from the side. Slacko will he be able to trade this kill back? Yes, indeed he will. The body slam comes out. There's the Cataclysm as well. Slacko going to try to get himself out. Cannot do so. One bad Brad goes in. He wants a piece of NK Inc. as well right now, but he's not going to be able to get too much. And just like that, we see 2 kills, though, going back over to the side of Velocity for the first time this game.
A little bit of bravery coming out there from only Jacksmith. Jacksmith, I think, once he got too far forward and got hit by the ultimate, just kind of lost his composure for a second because he missed not only the ultimate, but the follow-up barrel as well, and I believe he only landed a body slam in that exchange. And Brad going to find NK Inc. in the jungle, get out into the Baron pit. Easy escape for Jarvan there. Heading by that red side brush. I mean, that gold lead's still even. Fabi dying in bot lane was a huge deal because that was a lot of free farm potential that more or less got wasted. So if they can actually use it, if they can try and pressure top lane, if Evaniscus can hit level 6 and possibly see a dragon attempt coming out from Velocity, that might be what they need to do, because I do not see Evaniscus surviving in that 2v1 anymore, just because of Jax's potential at this point and the flash being down for Evaniscus.
And we saw, I mean, even when he did have his flash available to it, Rux's flash is going to be roughly on the same timer. Most supports do take the reduced cooldown on the summoner spells from the utility tree, and I doubt that Rux has got the points that he would need in there as well. But that's going to be a very, very, very small window of time where Evaniscus will have flash and Rux won't. So I think you're right. I don't expect to see Evaniscus playing that far forward in the 2v1 unless NK Inc. is there with him.
If Rux can land a leap strike onto Evaniscus, especially if he has his ult primed, but even if not, he can actually get that kill relatively easily. Pressure going out in the bot lane. Tatsulo is caught up by NK Inc., but NK Inc. may actually be caught up by Satsulo.
Yeah, he's going to see the bubble comes out there. One bad Brad tries to close it up. NK Inc. will be able to flash away. Explosive barrel is going to put him into the wall. Very nicely played there by Jacksmith. locked up by Wombat Brad, and just like that, Curse Academy, they're going to claim the first dragon of the game.
All right, that is the explosive barrel you want to see as Rux going forward towards Slacko. Gets a stun off. Slacko could try and fight this, though.
Slacko going to try to turn back around. We see neither one of them really wants to engage too hard. Rux just wants to make sure that he bought enough space, that there's no contest coming out whatsoever. Velocity Esports back away, and they give away that first dragon.
I mean, they had to give it up once NK died. They couldn't even go for a smite still because he was jungler going down. But that is the Jackson's ultimate I was expecting before. You know, he landed the ultimate in such a way that NK not only took the damage, but he was also essentially CC'd. Top turret ult being going down in response was actually Rux going to go for Evaniscus. Actually, Maple Street possibly. Just doing what he can to save the turret, it seems.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep the turret alive if he can, but for Maple Street, I don't think he's going to be denied this one for too long. Basically, the other thing Rux can do is threaten to potentially kill the Sona. There is exhaust up this time, no flash, so if Rux goes into the exhaust, that's going to be very problematic. And Evaniscus should be hitting level 6 very, very soon as well. So that's, you know, just one more form of CC that they'll have to keep Rux from just immediately killing that Sona. So we'll see. Looks like for Maple Street is going to get jumped on one more time. Here comes the counter-strike. NK coming from the side. They decide they want this tower. They might decide they want Rux more, but no, they're going to back away as Satsulo comes in. And perhaps they cannot finish it off just yet.
We've seen Satsulo's bubble prowess, so they got to be cautious about that. Had they gone forward for just the outright tower kill with NK possibly using a siphoning strike, they probably could have secured it, but might have died in response. Still, though, the gold lead only 1,400. It's 2 turrets to 0 turrets, though. So this is something that happens quite often. If a team gets ahead in turrets, but they're still behind in gold, it sets up a dangerous situation because the enemy team can safely farm if they freeze a lane. And what's even more scary is if they ever actually start picking up turrets, that gold lead balloons, because the turrets can very easily be picked up in rapid succession if they are that far ahead. So 1,800 is actually a pretty big lead. So this might be a case where we'll just see Curse Academy win one fight and get 3,000 or 4,000 gold off that.
So both mid laners have picked up their Athenes and Holy Grails. They're trying to find that 1v1 matchup between Chris and Rux. As you know, Chris has finished up the Sunfire Cape right now, so he's got a lot of split pushing potential. He's very, very tanky and very, very, you know, he's got a pretty decent amount of damage output as well between the ultimate and his Sunfire Cape, doing a lot of persistent match damage per second. And then you combine that with obviously his abilities. You know, he's got the goods. He can actually stand it and actually freely DPS Rux. Rux has gone for the Bilgewater Cutlass first, has now picked up the Ruby Crystal, presumably going to turn that into a Phage, and then going for the Trinity Force Blade of the Rune King build. We see Jaxmus comes in on Evaniscus. Evaniscus flashing away, will get away from the barrel, gets popped back by the explosive cast. Now we see Wombat Brad coming back in on it from Maple Street, as only Jaxmus takes a lot of damage there. Will land that barrel down. Huge chunk for Maple Street's HP going to go down, but there will be no follow-up, as Velocity going to try to make something happen here in the mid lane.
Jaxmus actually tried to land the ultimate such that Evaniscus would land on the barrel he missed before. Did not work out, unfortunately, but Renekton into the area, gonna go back towards the top lane, so that fight will disengage. Jaxmus low on mana, they should be able to hold the turret, though, because of the defensive potential from those barrels. As only one minion manages to make it to the turret.
Oh, Evaniscus is going to get locked up. There's the bubble as well. Body Slam comes out, going to pick that one up. The Cataclysm coming out with the tidal wave. NK very, very low. Will be pushed out of the box. Will not be able to get away, though. Double kill goes down for Jaximus as he body slams 2 guys to death.
Looking good, looking good. Easy kill there. I love the setup for Satsulo's bubble there. They have Wombat Brad going right away. It's much harder to avoid the flag and drag rather than Satsulo's bubble. And the effect is that now Maple Street has to use a culling on the creep wave, not going to be able to clear it out. He's low on HP, he's low on mana. They are scared of Chris, though, but now this gives time for Rux to free farm in the top lane. This gives time for Fabi to push down in the bot lane. Even if they're not able to kill that turret, actually, close to killing that blue buff. Wombat Brad could have gone over the wall, but it was in the brush. Regardless, they still have a bunch of free time across the map now where Rux and Fabi can scale in the late game, as the rest of the Velocity has to play defensively.
Oh, we see Slacko's going to get caught out here, going to use the shockwave, wants to try to return one kill for the other one. Satsulo going to flash out and land the bubble on the other side of that. Wombat Brad picks up that kill. Very, very nicely done, catching Slacko out of position as he thought he could defend that tower before it went down.
I just want to say, those bubbles are really hard to land. Like, I'm actually very impressed at Satsulo's bubbles because he's on point when he comes to catching people off. He is predicting well. It's a very, very dodgeable skill. And actually, NK's being over underneath the turret.
Rux coming down with the counter strike. Yeah, Rux gets the stun down and just immediately cleans him up. Very, very nicely done there as he just picks him apart. Rux is, they have one Trinity Force done now onto Ezreal, and Rux is you know, he's a pretty good clip along towards finishing his.
Yeah, 1,100 gold in the bank. Just actually crossed 1,200, so still going to be some time, but he did go for the 2 Doran's Blades and the Revolver start compared to Fabi, who's had more time to CS in lane. and he did not pick up a cutlass. So this is very quickly turning into the Curse Academy show, and by very quickly I mean it's been like that for a few minutes already. I don't know what Velocity is going to do in response to this because Oriana still needs more items to really output a lot of damage. Nasus has fallen very far behind, so he's become a Witherbot. Renekton is essentially the big carry now, but you know he doesn't have boots. He's actually going to go back and buy hopefully something to give him more mobility now, but he needs to be able to 1v5 essentially. And with Fabi's evasiveness and the fact that Rux is going to be able to dodge a lot of damage with his Counter-Strike, and he's going to be diving going for Slacko or Maple Street, like he can't play defensively. He has to be the one going on the offense, and it's not going to be effective enough.
Particularly, I'm a little bit confounded by the team composition they built here. They've taken down the Bash Bros, who typically excel at just making a really tanky front line that no one can get through and allowing hyper carries to stand behind them. But they've picked up, I mean, Oriana does great in the late game, don't get me wrong, but they picked up, you know, a Lucian rather than something like maybe a Caitlyn or a Kog'Maw or a Vayne or something like that, or a Tristana even, that's going to be just an absolute terror in the late game. They've got, you know, a decent amount of mid-game pressure coming out from the Renekton, but you look at the late game that's coming out here from the side of Curse Academy, Jax is going to be able to just run through pretty much everybody, and Jackson on the Gragas is going to be able to blow up, you know, half this team. As he comes forward there, Inkane going to flash forward, going to get pushed away by the barrel, but there's the Cataclysm coming out. That barrel will land, and Fabi's going to be able to pick up that kill.
Does he kill from? Does he actually pick up a blue buff there? No, just has his old one on standby. So Dragon going to be respawning with more gold going in favor of Curse. The ward coverage is actually decent for Velocity, but it doesn't matter because of the mobility of the Curse Academy lineup. You know, Gragas has a body slam, the leap strike from Jax. Actually, the only member of Curse Academy that doesn't have a way to get over a wall is going to be Satsulo. And even then, he still gets the speed up from his spells.
Slacko going to take a lot of damage there. The barrel going to close it out. The ultimate will not be able to pick him up. So he just dances onto the outside of it. But just like that, Curse Academy, they're grouped up in the mid lane. They've got 4, and I don't think there's going to be anything Velocity can do to keep this tower alive.
I mean, if they go for anything, they're going to die. Jack Smith has ultimate up in a couple seconds, and even then, just the damage and CC from Nami, Jarvan, Ezreal, and Gragas is more than enough to pick up a kill on even Chris in that situation. 2 kills to 11 kills. They haven't been able to pick anybody off. This team comp isn't that good at picking people off either, and they're at a point where they can't win a team fight. Velocity at this point have to kind of hole up, close all the windows, board them up, sit by a turret, and hopefully Curse Academy will make a mistake. If not, though, they're behind by 6,000 gold, and it's either a Baron throw or a turret throw for Curse Academy right now, because the team is just too mobile to really be caught out of position unless they're way, way out of it.
And they also, I mean, they just have so much scaling as well. Chris going to try to chase down, going to keep Rux from going back. Chris is pretty much the only person that can be near Rux right now, and Rux is actually questioning that as he dives in onto Chris. Here comes Slacko from the other side, throws down the command protect. There's the distance, there's the shockwave as well. Rux going to get tossed around, tries to flash back out of this one. The Na'Vi tidal wave going to try to get him out of this one. The leaf strike comes down. Another amazing bubble from Satsulo, going to just barely catch the tip of Chris's Renekton and force the disengage.
Satsulo is the support you want to be in every solo queue game ever on your team because, my god, he is playing the most out of Nami. Great save there, and that goes back to mobility. All right, Rux did have to burn a flash, and he did require the help of Satsulo, but he still didn't go down, and there's still no advantage being gained by the members of Velocity for getting that flash burn. All right, he's not going to have it in the future, but they still lost Chris's flash, they lost Chris's ignite, and they're still losing the top lane map control. They need to actually secure a kill and then make something happen off that. I just don't know who it's going to be on.
All right, so at this point, I mean, I'm trying to look around. I'm trying to think of what options they have available to them. It's a 6,000 gold back gap. Satsulo has picked up the oracles now, so he's resting away map control. He's got the ruby sightstone. Chris stepping forward there. They're going to try to keep this tower as healthy as possible with the 2 Bash Bros, you know, using their AoE to try to clear this out. But the next creep wave is going to be coming in here very, very quickly. Fabi has the Trinity Force, has also picked up a BF sword. So he's got a lot of work that he can get done there. Chris stepping forward. Evaniscus coming from the side, going to try to get initiation done, but he's too far away. They can't actually make anything happen there. And honestly, I'm not sure if they'd want the fight even if they could start it.
I think they need to do something stupid. Like, just do something stupid and unpredictable. Because if they're playing this very predictable game, it's like, all right, we'll push with 3, they'll defend with 3. Driver can try and pick someone off, Jax can farm, nothing really being gained. Like Velocity. They need to just go for a fight. Go for this. Kill Satsulo. Do something. Do something now because you don't have a lot of time.
Gonna try to make it happen. Fabi's getting a massive amount of damage off at this point. We see Satsulo is actually gonna give the buff over to Fabi to allow him to get the bonus damage and the slow coming out in his auto attacks. Fabi now blinking forward, trying to chase down onto Chris. Chris gonna try to get away from this one. Fabi flashes forward, Mystic Shot, not enough. Jackson's gonna try to get into range, comes in with a body slam, throws down the barrel. NK Inc. will fall. Jackson's the one who goes on a rampage as he picks that one up. Chris gonna be the next one to fall. The bubble gonna lock him up one more time. Fabi has to step into the brush to see the alligator as he kills him. We're gonna get a little bit of a juke action coming out there from Evaniscus as he doesn't give that over to only Jackson's, but it goes to Fabi instead, and Curse Academy grabbed 3 unanswered kills.
That was not a good exchange for velocity, but they had to do something. They were just falling so far behind that eventually they're going to lose turret. Jax is just farming bot lane, actually finishes the Blade of the Rune King already. So they were so far behind that they could have passively lost the game or aggressively gone for something like that. Like, just gone for a play. Unfortunately, they couldn't pick up Satsulo. I think what they actually needed was a flash ultimate from Evaniscus, but I can see how a team would be reluctant to use that because you're blowing so much just to kill a support. So even if they picked up Satsulo, they probably would have lost that turret because the members of Curse Academy would have grouped up and pushed it down. Still, you know, they had to make their play. Their play did not work out. It's unfortunate, but what are you going to do?
Right, so see from Maple Street will not get that red buff stolen away by either the bubble coming out from Satsulo nor the ultimate coming out here from Fabi. But that's how much pressure they're applying to the map. They're using Ezreal ultimates just to try to snipe away buffs on the off chance that you can take it away. There's nothing that's going to be taken up here by Velocity Esports that they can just count on getting for free.
I'm really concerned about this thing going on at the bottom of the map. This Jax is just eating up CS. Like, we haven't seen him in a while because, frankly, there's been no action. But that is the time bomb. That Jax is just constantly down there in the bot lane. And we mentioned this before. They don't have a good answer to Jax. There's nothing to really stop him. They can have the Wither on NACLS to slow him down. But as for the actual to, like, hop on you, get a stun off, land one good empowered auto attack possible with the ultimate, that doesn't get stopped by NACLS. Only the follow-up damage afterward does. And frankly, he's tanky enough to the point where he can survive that, and NK is not going to have the CDR to constantly spam out with that Wither either.
So we see Chris stepping forward. They clear out the wave immediately, and even the Wraith camp, they can't take that for granted at all. Jackson's trying to get the barrels in. They're trying to steal away the big Wraith at the end of the camp. I mean, there's just so much pressure being applied by Curse Academy, even while they're just waiting for the Dragon to respawn. It's going to be back up in 17 more seconds. Jackson's just alone in the mid lane. He's got his death cap done. There's the Athene's Unholy Grail as well. He is almost up a full death cap. The only difference is that there's Home Guard Sorcerer shoes on Slacko, and Jackson is still just rolling around with those brown boots. But the gold gap between these two sides, especially in the most important roles, is just absolutely colossal.
And the funny thing is, it's not even a CS advantage. It's the objectives. It's now a one turret advantage for Curse Academy. It's the, I think, not 3 or so dragons. Actually, possibly 3 or so dragons they've taken. And it's also just the fact that they're getting all these kills. Like, they have 4 kills on 3 members of their team, as well as, I gotta give credit to Satsulo. Like, I love Satsulo. I love watching him play. But 10 assists. I am a Satsulo fanboy, so I will fanboy over him at any moment. But this has just been a game where the map control has gone to Curse Academy. Most of the kills, most of the ganks have gone to Curse Academy. It was just 1 or 2 slip-ups that actually gave him the 2 kills for Velocity. And it's mistakes they haven't made since then. Like, Fabi has not gotten stunned underneath the turret by Renekton recently. And frankly, I don't see the mistake that Academy can make to really lose a lot of people. Ruck's going to catch out NK now, and NK's going to try and survive this. Don't know if he can.
Rux will not be able to land the stun now. Chris comes forward there, gets the stun as well, but he's going to have to back away from this one. Wombat Brad disengaging from under the towers. Curse Academy, they're not even concerned with taking down Baron, despite the fact that they know there's no wards on it. They swept that out, but they're just applying as much pressure as they can onto the lanes. Wombat Brad and Jacksmith looking for opportunities to poke over the wall, not going to find too much. Satsulo coming over from the side, maybe looking for a tidal wave initiation or just to push them back off the tower. We see Evaniscus stepping forward here is in a little bit of a risky situation. This initiation goes down. He's going to be gone very, very quickly. Wombat Brad steps forward. Ruck's able to shred that tower. It falls down, and Curse Academy get yet another objective with no response whatsoever from Velocity.
They need a bayonet rush. They need to just, once again, do something ridiculous and hope it works. There are times where passive play can get you through a game, but they don't necessarily scale that well in the late game. Orianna scales well, but Gragas also scales incredibly well, and that burst is going to be so hard to deal with. And then the Jax, as real, and even Jarvan lineup is going to be hard to deal with late game. So they can't play this as a farm off, and they're losing too much anyways if they could. They need to once again try and do something. And I know the last time I said that they lost 3 kills and got nothing in response, but hey, I'd rather see them go down fighting than just passively lose this, minute after minute as they fall further and further behind.
Yeah, right now it's the slow death as they're just being kind of bled out all across the map. So much farm going over that they just cannot answer back. You see, CS-wise, they're doing a really nice job of keeping themselves in this despite being so far behind in so many aspects. Only 20 CS between the 2 AD carries, 20 CS between the mid laners, and in the top lane, Chris is actually ahead. But it's just all the kills, it's all the objectives and everything else that's gone down. As now they're able to take down that middle inhibitor tower. Chris maybe going to try to go in on this and try to force something, but he recognizes, you know what, I don't have my team here. We don't have the opportunity. Maple Street is going to be the one getting caught out, has to flash over the wall, barely able to make it over. Evaniscus might fall to the ult. No, he will not. Command Protect comes out from Slacko, doing just enough to keep him alive. That explosive cast not going to be able to pick up any more kills as Jackson was just trying to zone them back away so they can pick up this inhibitor. I don't think Velocity have anything they can do to contest. It's just Chris and NK Inc. standing up at the front. Indeed they don't, as Curse Academy grab the inhibitor and back away.
I feel like right now Velocity should just do Baron. Like they need to do something. It's just been so passive, just waiting for Curse Academy to apply pressure. And that's great from Curse Academy. They've been very good about split pushing. They've had control of the map. Like, think about how that inhibitor turret went down. It was just a split push from 2 members, but they were so fast at pulling the turret, and they themselves had enough mobility that they were never really in danger. So it's an inhibitor down. It's a 10,000, even 11,000 gold lead at this point, and just nothing is happening. And that you cannot play from behind and just let yourself get bullied around. But they've been out of this long enough. They've had such a strong disadvantage in this game that I think Velocity, they're just hoping the big throw comes. And it might come. We've seen some pretty big throws in the past. They do come. But the way Curse Academy is playing, they're playing very methodically, very casually, very safely. And it's what they should do. But damn, it's not giving Velocity any opportunity right now.
Velocity are hoping that they can make some sort of pick happen. They bring up an Oracle. They're just looking to stand in a brush and hope that somebody comes to check it that really shouldn't. They're going to spot out that ward. They clear that away, and Ink rolling around with the Oracle's got the ball on himself at this point. Rux is just trying to farm up towards finishing up that Trinity Force. He is extremely close to it. In fact, that may be it right there. He's heading back to base with 2,400 gold in the inventory. We'll see if he's able to complete that item just yet. Yes, indeed, there it is. So he's got that 2-core extremely high damage output item build. He's already got the Trinity Force and the Blade of the Ruined King. A couple Doran's Blades to help out with that damage output. Satslow maybe going to get caught out here. One bad Brad is going to be the one step forward. NK gets popped up by yet another terrific bubble. Fabi has the Tie Caller's Blessing on, and that's going to force NK to flash away as he does not want to get caught by that slow. Just like that, Curse Academy feeling confident. Will they start up onto this Baron? They're going to go in and sweep it out one more time with Satsalo. The rest of the team coming in, they're either trying to take it or they're trying to bait it. Maple Street stepping forward there, will not get landed, caught by the bubble, but there comes one bad Brad. Only Jackson goes unstoppable as he picks up what's left of NK Inc. Double kill goes down now as he uses the explosive cast, picks that up. Rux on the other side of the fight will be able to pick himself up a kill. Now Evaniscus is trying to lead them away from the base. Triple kill comes out for Jackson as the only person to survive is Chris, and Curse Academy looking like they want to end the game.
They should just go for that next right now. They can end it cleanly. They can finish this off. That is a fight you see when a team has an 11,000 gold lead and they just get their initiation off properly. Sona got a great ultimate. Evaniscus actually CC'd a lot of people with the Nami tidal wave in response was amazing. And then just watching Rux tear through this base. Chris is there. He's not doing anything though. Even if they ignore him, he still can't kill someone. It's gonna burst him down quickly. As this is Velocity's last chance.
NK Inc. kind of step back forward here. Pops the ultimate. He's going to go down as well. They're just feeding more kills over. Jacksmith will fall down as Maple Street unloads the burst. That's going to be about the only thing that goes their way this entire game. It's Curse Academy going to clean up all the minions. They're trying to chase down Fabi. Rux dives in on the Slacko. Slacko going to fall to one bad Brad. The Nexus will go down. Curse Academy taking it down to the 29-minute mark.